Tuesday, January 6th here on the Just Baseball Show, and we are playing general manager for 3 teams in the American League West. We're going to talk about the Houston Astros, the LA Angels, and the No City Designation Athletics, who will soon be in Las Vegas. You got Arm Layton and I am Peter Apple. A big day for playing GM, and it's all brought to us by BetMGM. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code JustBaseball when signing up, and you will get up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code JustBaseball. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. If that bet loses, you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. And once you do, on top of the new player offer, the pro football playoffs are finally here, and BetMGM is giving you 2 ways to make every snap even bigger. First up, the odds boost token. Activate it on any pro football playoffs bet, and if your pick hits, you're looking at an even bigger payout. Simple as that. And if you want a little extra peace of mind, grab your no sweat token, attach it to the qualifying bet, and if things don't go your way, you'll get your stake back in bonus bets. No sweat, literally. BetMGM, make it legendary. Football can wait.
I was going to say, though, congrats on another profitable NFL season for you. If people aren't in the Discord keeping up with that, or just following up with your picks. The funny thing is the Discord, like, of course it's baseball first. Like I'll sprinkle in like minor league signings. Or like it's the only community that's going to care about stuff like that before we report it, or prospect rankings or whatever. But I also love that, like, I was sitting watching the FCS championship yesterday, which, by the way, was one of the best games I've ever watched because it was so bad and good at the same time.
I get that.
They won in overtime. But I go into the college football chat, which is in our Discord, and like, there's people in there watching that. So I've got people to like hop into conversations with when I'm like, my girlfriend Ellie calls it miscellaneous sports. Like when it's nighttime and there's no baseball, and I'll just flip something on. It's become a really fun community to just talk about, whatever's going on in the football world too.
Yeah, the irony of our Discord is that it's called Just Baseball, but in the off season, I'm fully involved with the NFL and betting and all that good stuff. We do have a separate football YouTube channel. If maybe you're listening and you didn't even know, Just Gridiron Fans, where I am giving out my NFL picks. End of the year profitable in the NFL, and we're really excited to get it going in the playoffs, of course. But people didn't click on this episode to hear about football. This is the Just Baseball Show, and we got 3 teams. And I texted you beforehand, and I said, these 3 teams are kind of done, at least at first glance. And then I started diving in a little bit more, and I said to myself, well, sometimes these episodes are a little bit more fun because this is where we get really creative.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, and I'm glad that we're starting with the Houston Astros here, you have a trade that you want to talk about that makes the Astros, again, I'm using the same word, but creative. But before that, I want to talk about the moves that the Astros have already done, just so we can talk about their offseason, and then we can dive into playing GM with the Astros. So number one, earlier on in the offseason, they traded second baseman Mauricio Dubon to the Atlanta Braves for shortstop Nick Allen. And I think at the time, Astros fans were a little bit frustrated with that move because it seems just on paper, Mauricio Dubon is a little bit better of a player than Nick Allen, but they're shedding a little bit of payroll. And I think that's where, again, the term creative is going to come into play here. Yeah. They traded Anderson Brito and Jacob Melton as part of a 3-team trade. The Pirates traded starting pitcher Mike Burrows to Houston, and then the Rays traded Brandon Lau, Jake Mangum, and relief pitcher Mason Montgomery. They also signed free agent right-handed pitcher Ryan Weiss, and then the big move of the offseason, bringing in Tatsuya Imai, who we just discussed on yesterday's episode. What to expect from Imai on the Astros. Instead of just talking about that even further, we have a YouTube video on our YouTube page detailing that. It's also a part of the full episode. So this is really what the Astros do now after signing Tatsuya Imai. So the floor is yours. I, of course, have a few moves.
Yeah.
Mine are more, I would say, normal. And what I mean by normal is spending a little bit of money. trading prospects in order to get a big time piece, but I'm really excited to hear about yours.
The problem and why the Astros are so difficult to work with here is they have basically a self-imposed hard cap, right? They want that CBT to reset, so they don't want to go over that. And we saw like they were willing to pay nearly $10 million of a posting fee for a contract that's probably going to be 1 year, $21 million for Tatsuya Amai. But the $10 million posting fee doesn't count towards the CBT. It doesn't count towards the luxury tax. So I feel like they're okay spending money clearly or doing anything they can to stay below the tax. And so they're right up against it now after signing Amai. And I think you gotta create some room. And this is the interesting thing is I think Dana Brown is really, really good. It's kind of the Preller thing too, but different, obviously less aggressive. Phenomenal scout. Phenomenal evaluator of talent. I mean, even look at what they did, with the Kyle Tucker trade to identify Cam Smith, and obviously looks like a great get for them. But just in general, I think his track record speaks for itself. But those are two important skills. The assembling of a team and budgeting and all of these different things, and working with an owner who's going to impose strict budgets sometimes and then not as much the other times. You got to start to get more creative. And I think and I love the trade in a vacuum, but when they brought in Carlos Correa, even with it paid down a little bit, that really made it even more difficult to work below the CBT. And, I'd love to salary dump Christian Walker. Who the hell is going to take that contract at this point? You mentioned Dubon, which is a little bit more expensive. That was kind of a salary dump. You could trade Jake Myers, but I think they kind of need Jake Myers now, especially in center field. So the one guy I look at, and it's not crazy amount of money, but for what you're getting production wise, and really every dollar matters right now, I think you got to look into trading Jesus Sanchez. I understand they just acquired him, but they also had Zach Cole come up, who I still have some concerns about, but clearly showed that he has the talent to make an impact and be hot and cold and whatever. And like, that's what Jesus Sanchez is anyways, with less tools. And if you move Jesus Sanchez, I think they have, I'll double check now once I kick it back over to you. I think they've got about $6 million, $7 million in room. If you trade Jesus Sanchez, they might get closer to like 12, 13, and that might be where we can make a move.
So I got to be honest with you. Maybe I overestimated you. When you said that you were going to get really creative, I didn't think it was trading Jesus Sanchez away. We got to get crazy. What do you mean? You text me individually. I'm like, oh, what is Aram about to do? Is he about to trade Correa and Paredes in the same deal? How is that going to work? But then I'm realizing, no, Peter, you're talking about your brain. You're not talking about a measured brain where the word creative could mean that, because I also traded away Jesus Sanchez because you already mentioned Zach Cole. What about Cam Smith playing right field?
That's the other thing. He doesn't even have everyday at bats right now.
He needs everyday at bats. Like, he was a really strong player through the front half of the season, and in the back half, he hit a rookie wall. Happens to a lot of guys. I am by no means giving up on the lead guy in the Kyle Tucker trade. Now you could say, well, Isaac Paredes was. Yes, but this was your foundation piece. This is who you want to build around in Cam Smith. So I want him starting in right field every single day. And you said that the Astros still have about $6 to $7 million left before getting to the tax. Yeah. What did we say in the episode prior? The Astros need a left-handed pitcher. Who is also owed $6.5 million next year? Trivia question for you.
Oh, look at you cooking. Exact amount of money?
Here's the problem. I know, but here's the problem. And I'll give you another hint. Do the Astros actually have the prospects in order to make this deal a reality?
Okay, let's hear it.
Mackenzie Gore.
Oh, interesting.
I have a package, but I want to talk about your Jesus Sanchez trade because I think that gives us a little bit more leeway.
We should start probably sexier, though. What do you think?
Well, I mean,
before I just care about micro moves. Dude, I have a minor league free agent signing.
Yeah, I mean, we're on different wavelengths here. I'm trying to go get Fromber back, and you're talking about minor league free agents. We got to come together. They just signed your favorite guy, Imai. They are active. We can be active. I think trading away Jesus Sanchez is perfect because I want to trade for Mackenzie Gore, but I don't want to be $500,000 less than the cap because then that's the only move that we can make. I want to trade for Mackenzie Gore and potentially do just a little bit more, maybe totaling about $3 million, where we're still about $3 million shy of the tax. So I think it's actually better to start with your Jesus Sanchez move so we can clear a little bit more money to do the moves that I want to make. That's why you and I should run a team. This would be perfect.
The amount of times you'd come in and be like, I want to do this. I'm like, Peter, we either don't have the money for that or I don't want to trade every prospect.
Yeah, we can't side Frauber, Rager, and trade for Gore and Ryan. We just can't do it. And I'm like, why?
So just for perspective, so people can understand, like, well, why are we picking Jesus Sanchez here to shed the money? Let me give you some other names, and you tell me if it would be worth moving them for salary reasons. And I think I'm going to know the answer. Isaac Paredes at an estimated $10 million.
I want him to rake in my lineup in Houston. I do not want to trade him.
Perfect for there.
Perfect.
Brian Abreu at 6.5.
I would be interested in the right deal. Like, I think a deal with the Dodgers, if you're getting potentially a big league starter in return, I like that. But I don't want to trade him for prospects. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also, like, I'm going to make a case too that I think they need some relief help too in general. So
I agree with you.
So, to kind of be like one step back, and then a half step forward.
But
you're not going to move Javier at 13 mil. You need
Here's the thing is, though, they do have 13 right-handed starters that won't be in the rotation that are not good enough to be a consistent 1 through 5 guy, but could turn into a solid bullpen arm. So that's where I'm like, I get when you look at their roster right now and you say they could use one more, but I also think those options could be in-house.
Okay. Yeah. And I think if the leverage guys would be Abreu and Hader, like those are the clear-cut leverage guys. But to your point, like there's a lot of different guys that could plug into like middle relief type of roles. But beyond that, I mean, again, Jake Myers is $4.5 million too. So you're not even shedding that much money, and he's great out there.
That's a good deal. That's a great deal.
It's a great deal. And you got another year of control after it. And then, from that point forward, it would be really nice to shed Christian Walker's 20. It's just not going to happen. Good luck. 2 years for $40 million. Maybe if you pay it down, but at that point, I'd almost rather just see if he bounces back. He's not 40,
no,
he's 35.
I'm letting him bounce back.
Because if he bounces back, if he's 80% of what you thought you were getting, all of a sudden, if some other things go right, we're talking about a team that can, make a little run here. Again, I like the Correa addition. He makes them better, but Correa and Walker are accounting for $42 million this coming season. So point being, if you could somehow move Lance McCullers 17, that'd be great. You can't. It's just not possible. So there really is nowhere else to clear up money than Jesus Sanchez. And I think to the point now, like they brought in Sanchez. He didn't swing it well there. It was a small sample, but he wasn't great after the trade. And you mentioned it, like I want Cam Smith playing every day. He's one of my breakout candidates for next year, even in a down year where he skipped the minor leagues. And it wasn't even a down year. How can you call it a down year when he literally skipped the minor leagues? It was a 90 WRC plus, so he's 10% below league average, and he graded out as above average defender in the outfield. He can run a little bit. He was a one-win player, having skipped the minor leagues. I think he's going to have a nice year next year. I think he could easily be a 3+ win player. We need to path to more ABs for him, and he's a better defender out there anyways. I think you just have to look at Sanchez as kind of a salary dump. And he's worth a little bit more than that, and so that's why it's going to be a very unsexy trade here. But I'm looking at what the Marlins got, which was another half season of control, and it wasn't very much. Two birds with one stone, because I actually like this trade for the team that we're going to actually GM a little bit later. I think you trade Jesus Sanchez to the Angels. I was looking desperately for teams that may want Jesus Sanchez, and there's not a lot of them that I think it would fit that well in. Sanchez is a left-handed bat that, I mean, you look at the handedness of the Angels lineup right now, not a lot of left-handed pop. Right now, they have Bryce Teodosio projected to play center field. I understand that Joe Adell is not a good center fielder, but I just don't think they care that much. And I think they just need offensive upside. I also think there's a very real scenario where Jorge Soler is not justifiable to have in the lineup every single day because he's either not able to play defense, his back's affecting him, and when that's happening, usually his offense suffers. And I think you needed some other option there as well. I think you just trade Jesus Sanchez there. I was thinking about it. We were talking about this with Peyton. with Podcast P, who's a little under the weather. We'll have him back soon. They have 0 left-handed pitchers in that system, like from top to bottom. I think there's 3 left-handed pitchers in the entire organization, or like 5 total, but like starters, I think there's like 2 or 3. I think you go Mitch Ferris and depth, Juan Flores, a catcher. They need some catching depth for Jesus Sanchez to the Angels.
So it's funny. We were spending our morning doing the same exercise without telling each other. I was also trying to find landing spots for Jesus Sanchez, and I looked at the Angels. And then I thought to myself, that's the worst defensive outfield in the history of anything. In the history of anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's worse than my high school defensive outfield. I mean, that is Joe Adell.
What if you put
or
Trout in a corner?
No, he can't.
I agree.
Like, he can't. So, again, the Angels need an outfielder. When we play GM, I have their outfielder. I actually found what I think to be a better team and a position that he could actually play, and he would make the team he's going to actually better.
Where else do we dump this guy?
I'm going to tell you. The Detroit Tigers. And let me tell you why. In right field, they have Wenceel Perez, who mashes left-handed pitching. The problem is he put up a 608 OPS against right-handed pitching. I think he's a soft side of the platoon bat. And I think they're going into next year saying, this is our right fielder. Jesus Sanchez is not expensive, and you'd create a pretty good platoon out there in right field.
And Scott Harris is obsessed with matchups. I don't know if there's a GM more obsessed with matchups. And Jesus Sanchez should never see a lefty, to be fair. And he won't there. I can promise
you never will.
That.
Like, he'll never see a lefty. All he would do is play against right-handed pitching. And maybe Scott Harris and Hinch, they notice a matchup where Wenceel Perez is actually better against this righty. Whatever. You can still play Perez more often than you would Jesus Sanchez. But the Tigers are also, I would say, not in desperate need for power, but they could certainly use some power. So Jesus Sanchez can be used as a pinch-hitting power bat off the bench and also play that platoon role with Perez in right field. And instead of giving him to the Angels where it's like, okay, they need an outfielder, yes, he would actually play every day. And that's why I understand why you went there. This is actually a better role for Jesus Sanchez. And he's not expensive, so it's not like the Tigers would have to give up that much in a salary dump, and it genuinely makes them better. While it would make the Angels quote-unquote better, I just couldn't get over how bad that outfield would be defensively. I couldn't do it. I was like, that's so unfair to the Angels to literally play 3 of the worst defensive outfielders in baseball in the same outfield every day.
Well, while at the same time, I'm telling them why are they running Joe Adell into center field every day? And I'm now forcing it that way.
Yeah.
But so, no, that makes sense. I like it. And what's interesting is I think the platoon situation there, like that could be where Sanchez actually, when he isn't like ever fully just settled into like, all right, dude, like chip a sail on lefties. Like just learn how to hit righties as well as you can. Just don't even worry about lefties anymore. And let's see what happens. And I do like it from that perspective. And you look at, again, the power potential he could bring to the table. It's great. And then you think about, the next thought was like, okay, well, who could he be blocking? Not really anybody. It's 2 years of control. And, the top prospects that are going to be there sooner are like all infielders, pretty much all of them. So right. I think it makes some sense. I'm thinking about like what, again, I don't think he has a ton of trade value. So what the Astros may want in return, like maybe some catching depth. Eduardo Valencia came out of nowhere this past year. I don't love him as a defensive catcher. And I think the Astros need more of an actual defensive catcher, but he is an above average bat that I thought could have honestly snuck through the Rule 5 draft. Scott Harris didn't want to risk it. And at least he can catch. So he gives them some catching depth to buy some time potentially until, I think they have one of the best defensive catchers in the minor leagues that'll be ready probably in the next year or so for the Astros. But I think Valencia and like a flyer, and I can come up with a flyer, probably.
I think Valencia is enough.
Yeah.
This guy, you're trading for a platoon bat. Now, it's the strong side of the platoon, but he can't play defense. Maybe you'd have to add a flyer, but I really just don't think it's going to be that expensive. And I think, who'd you say that guy Valencia? I think he's perfect because I've never heard of him.
Dude, it's crazy, actually. He had a career 690 OPS, having never played above low A and a little bit of high A, and signed in 2018. And then, like, the Tigers were just like, we need someone in double A. So they threw him up in double A, and he hit 24 homers between double and triple A last year. So cool story. You turned into a trade chip.
I'm just laughing because what other podcast on the face of the planet is talking about a high A catcher for the Tigers in the playing GM episode for the Astros and like knowing a lot about him,
Dude, he hits the ball hard now. It's
You
all about the glove. So yeah, that we'll just go Valencia, and then I'm going to throw in some random left-handed pitcher just so that we can have another left-handed pitcher.
Just a guy, maybe even like a guy.
All these guys are too good.
Give him like a guy who throws BP before the
Blake
game.
Dickerson. Perfect. Dickerson. I think he was throwing 88 last time I checked in. So
perfect.
Yeah. There we go.
For Valencia and Blake Dickerson. Don't worry, Astros fans. We are cooking here. We just traded Jesus Sanchez to the Tigers for, what's Valencia's first name?
Eduardo Valencia.
Eduardo. Okay. Eduardo Valencia and Blake Dickerson. That's going to bang on a graphic.
Yep. People are going to be, who? What?
So how much money did we just remove?
$6.5 million.
$6.5 million.
Now
we have about 13 million.
Yeah. Got about 13. I'll be honest. So where I was thinking of going, but now it kind of sounds like a bad idea based on what, at least it just doesn't sound like where you were going with it. I do feel, okay. I'm nervous that Josh Hader's injury, that shoulder thing at the end of the year, could linger. And if it does, who are your leverage arms? It's Brian Abreu and who else? And also, like, I just think it's a staff that I'm more and more bullish on. I think Burrows is going to take a leap. I love him as the fit there. You know how I feel about Amai. And then, I think they've got enough going there, and they've got some depth too. I also think about Arrighetti in one-inning spurts and think, oh man, like that guy could totally be a force. But I don't think it would hurt to have another leverage arm, but that might be the entirety of the budget. Like, what is a Michael Kopech going to cost?
That's why we go cheaper and we swing for a home run. Because we still think that Josh Hader will pitch. I agree with you. There are concerns.
I think he will pitch. Yeah, of course.
So instead of signing a actual high leverage arm, we swing for the fences on a guy who's going to be cheaper and can be a leverage arm.
Okay.
And that's Evan Phillips.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good fit.
Because Evan Phillips is what? Going to be $5 million? 4?
Maybe, 4.
4? And then the pitcher we trade for is 6.5. We're staying under budget. So those were my moves.
Okay.
Trade Jesus Sanchez to the Tigers, and that's all I wrote, and I was like gonna hand it off to you because I don't know the prospects. So especially in the lower levels. Like I could do the top end prospects. I can't do the catcher in low A who just broke out. So that's why I handed that off to you. And then I actually did come up with a package to trade for Mackenzie Gore. And then I was going to sign Evan Phillips because I feel comfortable enough in Josh Hader and Brian Abreu being my guys. And if one of them were to falter, let's take a home run type swing on an Evan Phillips, who has been a legit high leverage reliever before, but has dealt with injuries with the LA Dodgers now for a few seasons. But if he is healthy, I feel confident that he can at least lock down the 7th inning. And of course, there's upside for him to be a legit 8th or 9th inning guy if Hader were to go down.
How the hell do we get Mackenzie Gore?
So now we get into the next part of playing GM. Here's my trade package. And they might genuinely not be able to. They might not. And we are kind of trading the farm. But when's the last time the Astros had a good farm anyway? I think, and the reason I'm willing to trade basically the farm for him is because the American League is wide open. The Astros are likely not going to be able to sustain this lineup for a very long time, right? Altuve is aging out. Bregman's been gone. Fromber's now gone. The core of what made the Astros dynasty is falling apart in a way. and they're trying to get younger. But we're coming up on the final years of the Astros truly being a World Series contender. And when I look at their roster right now, I think they are potentially a Mackenzie Gore type arm away from winning the American League.
Mm-hmm.
This lineup rakes. Like, I know they struggled last year. There was not a lot of Yordan. Christian Walker struggled. Yainer Diaz struggled. But even if you get 70% versions of those guys with Pena, with Correa, with Paredes, with Cam Smith in year 2, this lineup is going to be really good. And the bullpen has proven to be at least solid. You bring in Imai, you have Javier, you have Hunter Brown, you have Mike Burrows. You put Mackenzie Gore in there, the Astros can look across the landscape of the American League and tell themselves, we can win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
We can do it. We've gone up against the Dodgers and beaten them. Now I know, there might be a cheating allegation thrown in there or two, but I'm telling you, we're playing general manager for the Astros. This is what they believe.
Yeah. We're innocent.
We're innocent. We can beat anybody in front of us. Now is the time to trade from the farm. And it's not like, are we building around Bryce Matthews, Xavier Nyans, Ryan Furcucci, and Kevin Alvarez?
No,
top 10 guys.
I wonder, I think you gotta include like a big league arm in here, like not like a big league arm in terms of like Arrighetti.
I didn't think they'd want one. That's why I didn't include them. I included because I was like, what does Spencer Arrighetti do for the 2026 to 2028 Nationals? Nothing.
Well, he's under control for how long? Getty, because like there's a certain point where it's just like they need pitchers, period, and then they could always flip him. But he's gonna hit ARB in 27. It's hard. I mean, I think Bryce Matthews and Xavier Nyans are a great 1-2 starting point. Yeah. I love Walker Yannick. I mean the Nationals have Keibert Ruiz locked up and just traded for Harry Ford, because I think Yannick is a guy that like publicly is not valued as high as he is privately, because like all these teams can see how good of a defender he is.
Again, my dumb brain, which I guess was not dumb in this context, didn't include a catcher because they just traded for Harry Ford. I assume they wouldn't want to.
I don't think it's
catcher, even if this guy is technically a better prospect. Maybe they still do. They need everything.
They need everything.
I was like, they just traded for Harry Ford. Let's pick someone else.
But I agree. Like that is generally you want the best haul possible. I think there could be an iteration where it's like a 3-team trade too, and we come up with something like Arrighetti goes another way, and that team sends prospects, this way. But that would take some galaxy brain stuff that we don't have time for. I'm just trying to figure out how we can actually make it a realistic.
I just want to know, are those 4 guys that I named enough for Mackenzie Gore?
I think it's a little light. Because I just think other teams can it's not that like in a vacuum, the package is not
other teams would
equitable. It's just, if I see that and, they do like last offer, I'm beating that. I'm if I'm the Red Sox, if I'm any other team, I'm finding a way to beat that. But and the fact that they're who I had probably as their number 1 and 3 prospects, both just got traded, that does make it harder. I think if I were the Nationals, I'd have interest in AJ Bluebaugh too, who I thought was really good in a hybrid role last year. Does bring something to the table for the Astros, but he's also 6 years of control. So I think if you go Nyans, so what did you say? You said Nyans and who?
I said Nyans, Matthews, Furcucci, and Kevin Alvarez. All in your top 10 prospects, which you can find on justbaseball.com.
Yeah. Instead of Furcucci, we go Bluebaugh.
Okay.
And this is kind of like a quantity package, like
it is
like the Shane Baz situation, but different.
AJ Bluebaugh. Okay.
I think people are going to say it's too light. I get it, but hey, we offered it.
We offered it, and it is It's just not as sexy as some other packages that we've done for Mackenzie Gore. But if the Nationals would prefer quantity, and there's still quality in there. I mean, Matthews and Nyans are both at least near top 100 prospects. They're just probably near the bottom of the top 100. But how many
are just outside?
But normally what we're doing in a Mackenzie Gore trade is trading like the 40th best prospect in baseball and then 2 others outside the top 100. If we have 2 guys on the limits of the top 100, an MLB ready pitcher, and then another lottery ticket, it's not light. It's just, I would say, equal to a lot of the trade offers for Mackenzie Gore. But because the Astros have a really weak system, we just kind of say, well, another team could beat it. But we've seen this before where another team could beat the Tatsuya Imai deal, but they didn't. Another team could have beat the Okamoto deal, but they didn't, right?
Yep.
This is at least in a vacuum fair, makes sense for both sides, keeps the Astros under the luxury tax, and what do they need most of all? Left-handed starter.
Yeah. I mean, for the Astros, it's a no-brainer. I'd literally be asking them, what do I need to give you? Like, and whatever it is, I'm doing it. I don't think there's any iteration of a package unless they want Cam Smith I'm saying no to. Like, that Cam Smith might be where I draw the line just because of how many years you're going to get him and how good I think he's going to be next year. But yeah, I think that again, and people can pick and choose. I think you could also get creative. Like, I think a lot of teams have value in Arrighetti, who was banged up and just disappointing last year. The guy was striking out more than 10 per 9 a year ago. So I think that could be, if you don't like this iteration of the trade, we could get creative enough and flip Arrighetti to a third team, and those prospects come the Nationals way as well and figure it out. But I think the general sentiment is Astros do whatever, and we can almost maybe put that in the graphic, this package or whatever it takes to get Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah, instead of the players involved, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Except Cam Smith.
Except Cam
whatever
Smith.
It takes,
actually,
except Cam Smith.
I actually would love that to be the graphic. But yeah, I love it. I mean, and again, they don't need to do anything else. It sets them up for next year too. And next year being 27. Oh, we're not going to have baseball. Yes, we will. It's just, maybe it's 10 less games. It sets them up for 27. And, I think Gore is a guy that has had these ups and downs. And again, I give the Astros a lot of credit, though. I think they're really good at arsenal optimization. Look at Kikuchi when he was there. I think this is a similar case where Kikuchi, you see the stuff, you see the stretches, you're like, why can't he do this longer and more consistently? And then they adjust his usage, his location, and boom, he does it. I think Gore could be a very similar case where it's like, there he is, and he fully unlocks it. So again, whatever it takes, I love it.
Look at Garrett Cole and the Astros coming from the Pirates.
Morton, Verlander, even
there's a lot of examples.
They seem to just work well with guys, vets, young guys, whatever it may be.
So there you go. I think those are our 3 moves. I didn't have anything else written down.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I think this new front office is in Washington is going to value a Nyans type and be more willing to roll the dice. I mean, Nyans is, I think, a top 100 talent, huge whiff risk, but also has star potential. And you don't get to acquire those guys just drafted, right? So we just talked about the value of a guy that you don't have to add to the 40-man for a handful of years. Those guys carry about the same value as, I think, a top 100 prospect. So I love it.
This is also a team that drafted Elijah Green. So you can't tell me about whiff.
Yeah, I think, and well, I wonder if how many people are going to be left from when they drafted him. Sure. They are going young, and I love it. But I think that's it. This team now, as constructed, can very easily get hot and win the World Series.
Exactly.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Need some things to go right.
Yep.
But they have some depth now still. I love the rotation. Pena made a leap last year. Jordan, if he doesn't even need to play 140 games. If you get 120 games, give him a day off every single week, you're going to be way better off because that guy had 200 plate appearances last year. So
exactly.
I like it. And I still think Walker can't really be much worse. So I like it. I'm bullish on the Astros, even if they don't do this. But if they do, I'm in. By the way, my minor league deal, I brought back Cooper Hummel. They need a left-handed bat. They need some depth.
Let's add that. So we traded Bryce Matthews, Xavier Nyans, AJ Bluebaugh, and Kevin Alvarez for Mackenzie Gore. We signed Evan Phillips to a 1-year, $4 million deal. We traded Jesus Sanchez to the Tigers for Eduardo Valencia and Blake Dickerson. And we signed Cooper Hummel to a minor league deal. Dana Brown, if you're listening,
do it.
Do it. Those are the deals you got to make. So we just finished up the Houston Astros. And next up, we are going to do the LA Angels. But before that, a quick break. Playing general manager for the LA Angels. All right, Aram, we got to change the bracket here on our YouTube thing. We're missing Podcast Pete right now. We're missing Podcast Pete. We just finished the Houston Astros, and now we're going to do the LA Angels. Perry Manassian, listen up. So these are the moves that the Angels have done so far, and it's actually been a pretty good offseason. Kind of. The Angels traded away Taylor Ward to the Orioles for Grayson Rodriguez. I think that trade is a win for them. They signed free agent relief pitcher Jordan Romano. I like him on a bounce back potentially. You never know, but it's really, really, really cheap and I think worth the get. They traded for Vaughn Grissom from the Red Sox for Isaiah Jackson. Again, another buy low opportunity. We can't forget this was the main piece in the Chris Sale trade from the Red Sox to the Braves not so long ago. He's still really young. Another low-end pickup that I like. And they also signed Alek Manoah. That one I'm cooling on. And they also signed left-handed reliever Drew Pomeranz, which again is a good arm that I like. I think the Angels are on the right path. We make fun of them because what they're doing is collecting the top 10 prospect list from 2017. And they get made fun of more when they make moves like Alek Manoah. But so far, it's at least a B offseason.
I don't think they've done anything bad. Even the Manoah shot, like I don't have much optimism, but if it's a perfect team to take that shot, right? Like there's no harm. I like what they've done so far. I don't think they're done. I don't know if there's that like swing for the fences move. Also, they settled the Anthony Rendon situation, which I partially joking, but like partially serious. It was just time to sort that out. Like it was enough of like, hey, Anthony, you gonna play today? Nah. Like I know he's been hurt, but just that whole situation, just knowing and figuring that out, I think is going to be better for the players and the org as a whole. And I think that is also going to be beneficial for this team. So I think they've done a pretty good job, but also still a little bit more work to do.
A little bit more work to do. And before we start making actual moves, I texted you earlier that I have a super dumb question, but there's a part of me that thinks it's valid. We have been trying to trade Nolan Arenado to the Angels. The entire offseason? That's what we did in the Cardinals episode. We even mentioned that earlier on in the offseason when we were just talking about the Cardinals generally and trying to find a spot for Nolan Arenado. And the Angels made sense. Nolan Arenado, 2 years left, due about $31 million. There's another third baseman that's due 2 years, $32 million. And I'm curious which one you would rather trade for.
Ooh. Okay.
Nolan Arenado or Ryan McMahon?
Do you think the Yankees would already just call it quits? Well, they need money. They're broke.
They need money. They're broke. There are plenty of options to replace third base for them.
I would rather have Ryan McMahon.
He's $1 million more. He had a better year last year. I mean, it's 20 home runs every year over the last 5 years. The problem is the WRC plus rarely eclipses 90. But he is a good defender, and there is power in the bat. And the reason that we're coming up with these types of moves is the Angels kind of need a third baseman. Mm-hmm. I would like Christian Moore to play second base. I don't want him as my third baseman. right? And that's currently what Roster Resource has on Fangraphs for him. And I understand wanting to play Vaughn Grissom, but you got to see something before you're saying, yes, Vaughn Grissom is our second baseman. Absolutely. I need to see more. I can't. He was blocked in AA, AAA by the Red Sox. Like I need a little bit more. And I want to put Christian Moore at the position and have him be my second baseman of the future. And I want to continue to build, something good between Zach Neto and him. So
what about Oswald Peraza?
Again, yeah, these guys are on the bench. These guys are on
the
bench.
I love the way they collect these guys, man. It is great. But no, I agree. I also do like Denzer Guzman, who got a taste at the end of last year. I think he's not, as is the case with usually what we talk about, Angels young players. He's just not quite ready yet. I think he could just benefit from, just playing in the upper minors, maybe another year, half a year at AAA. But even then, like Guzman's a guy that can kind of move all over. And also you'll have more clarity by June. You'll know if Vaughn Grissom's a guy that's worth keeping around. By June, you'll know if Oswald Peraza's a guy worth keeping around. By June, you'll know if even Kyron Paris is a guy. There you go. That's worth keeping around. He was fantastic for a month. And then he teacher man too hard. But like, I think there is a world where that cluster rectifies itself and then it's next man up, which is a role I love Denzer Guzman in. But the point is, like, the Angels, they don't want to go into a season where it's just finding things out. I think the goal is clearly to try to sneak into the playoffs. And I don't think it's incredibly far-fetched given the current playoff structure. You just see teams like the Marlins not eliminated till game 161. I don't think it's far-fetched when you look at this team to say, hey, if everything goes right, we can hang around. So why not make some moves? They draw good attendance. Like, it's a major market. Like, why not make some moves to give them that 85 win shot? And I think with the talent they currently have, I think Neto is going to take another step forward. If Trout's healthy, like Trout gave you a productive year last year, actually. Like, it's not what we're used to, but he was a 2-win player. He hit 26 homers. Like, if he does that again or a little bit better than that again, like, he's still a decently valuable player. And then you have a lot of other guys that you feel like can take a leap or at least a step forward. So, and you mentioned how they've addressed the pitching. I think the rotation has some intrigue. We got to help it a little bit more, but I think Detmers is going to be a breakout guy next year. And then Soriano and Kikuchi are good. So I think,
and if
I don't know, what's the priority? Third base, right? Third base.
If Grayson is 70% of Grayson Rodriguez, I mean, this is a good rotation. I want to add another bullpen arm. I still see center field as being an issue. Yes. So the three positions that I said, all right, let's go spend or trade or do something. I want to go get a starter. I want to go get a third baseman. And I want to go get a center fielder.
I feel like
we can also add some 1-year relievers to this bullpen.
I think there's a very obvious center fielder.
Me too.
But are they just going to keep blowing past the CBT? Like, does money matter? Or like, so they have a good amount of space. And also, I think I don't know the details of the restructuring with Rendon, but I'd imagine that it was, if possible, again, I'm speaking totally out of turn here. Maybe they were able to create a little bit more space for the CBT by restructuring with Rendon. I'll double check that now, but it seems like they have some room to work with here. I think you got to sign a free agent in center field. What's low-hanging fruit? Harrison Bader?
Bang.
Yeah, done.
Harrison Bader, I signed 2-year, $25 million to play center field, $12.5 million a year.
Is that what the projections have on him? He's a really interesting one where I was sitting the other day, just kind of bouncing in my mind. I'm like, I feel like Harrison Bader might get money that we're like, whoa, because so many teams need a Harrison Bader type. He had such a good year. True. And the floor is still just 2-win outfielder because he's going to defend.
Thing is, I don't think the floor is a 2-win outfielder.
Fair.
I think he'd be just a good defender. Bad. He's not the same elite defender that he once was. Like, there are reasons he's being moved to a corner is because he's not an elite center fielder anymore. And we've seen that bat go on stretches where it's bad.
Yeah, that's true. I think he's a floor, 1-win floor.
Yes.
2 is probably generous.
I think you're looking at, if you get 2.5 wins out of Harrison Bader, you're jumping for joy.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's going to be that expensive, but I think it's also worth it to do it for Bader because he can go on stretches where he's playing near an all-star level.
And if he repeats last year, I mean, you're over the moon.
You're over the moon.
So what would you say? 2 years, 20?
2 years, 25. I saw projections where it was like, He's probably going to get a 2-year deal. I saw as low as 18 million and as high as 32 million.
No, I think you're right.
I went high side. I went a little higher.
I think you're right. Okay, so there we go. Center field's taken care of. And actually,
center field's taken care of.
Really,
Easy.
I really like what he brings to the table there. It gives him some speed.
Because I was thinking, it's so funny. We were going along the same train of thought. I was like, because I started with the Astros, I'm like, let's move Jesus Sanchez to the Angels. But he's just such a horrible defender. I needed to get someone who can defend out there. And Bader can certainly defend. They're pretty right-handed heavy, which I didn't love. But I'd prefer good defense over looking for a lefty.
I agree. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. So that takes care of that.
Yep.
But to your point, I think it's even more reason to target a McMahon than an Arenado. And also, like I told you, since I grew up playing ball and like playing third base, Nolan Arenado highlights were all I watched. I watched that guy defend, his footwork. Part of the reason why I think I love like watching and analyzing defense is like his footwork and his actions are like one of the first players actually started to nerd out about that. He is relying on that solely to get by as a decent defender at this point. And I think it's a testament to just how freaking incredible he is. His body's just not keeping up anymore. And he's just not grading out as that elite of a defender anyways either. So McMahon probably, unfortunately, he's even a more valuable defender at this point as well. And at least like you have the pipe dream that McMahon gets hot, makes a little bit more contact and hits 30. What is the ceiling of Nolan Arenado at this stage? Offensively,
not high,
and just period. Like, what is the ceiling? What are you hoping for? I don't really know. And
you know why I also don't want Arenado? All the reports out of the Angels, like I've heard multiple players come on podcasts and talk about how their facilities are really bad. Do you think Arenado is going to perform well in a place where other players are already telling you that the facilities when it comes to health are bad? Like it's like
you could just veto it. You could be, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, so, why would he go there if he's on the trade block? Why would he go to the Angels while knowing that? Makes no sense to me.
I think McMahon,
right? And so now here's the problem: who do the Angels send back? And now you could say I'm over my skis here, but I picked out an Angel that I want. Ryan Zefferjan.
You want Ryan Zefferjan?
He strikes out so many guys. He's got 6'5", 200, and he's got like fastball problems. And I'm like thinking to myself, perfect. That's what the Yankees want to do. But he came up and he was terrible last year. He's 27. The Angels don't know how to use him. Maybe it's too much because he's got so many years of control. He's with the Yankees.
I think they do it if the Yankees pay down a little bit of it.
We'll pay down
because the Yankees could look at it as a free agent signing, right? Like you're just signing Zefferjan.
Artie Moreno is way richer than Hal Steinbrenner, apparently.
I know, but I think from an asset value standpoint, you're going to have to pay it down a little bit.
All right, we'll pay it down.
The Yankees can look at it as like a free agent signing, right? It's like
so what we'll do
some cash,
$6 million taken off. So it goes from 32 million to 26 million, and we get Ryan Zefferjan. Is that crazy?
No, I don't think so.
8 million. So. 8 million, sure.
All right. I think that's good. I think that's
good.
Grand
7.
Yeah.
7.
Just negotiating against yourself.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's a fair deal.
Right?
There we go. And I think gives them more upside and just raises the floor of this team. Like the Angels have such loyal, supportive fans. Like, just go out there and don't suck. Oh my gosh, that's the funny. So for those listening to audio, someone said, Raj said, hear me out, trade for both Arenado and McMahon and platoon them. Don't give Scott Harris any ideas.
Look at that. This is creating a pretty damn good player. Thank you, Raj.
It's a really expensive platoon for league average offense, but I love it.
Like $32 million a year for
league average offense in the aggregate. I love it though. This team's again, honestly, it sounds so stupid. I feel so much better about the floor. We just added 20 homers and we added a good defender because defense has been a problem. So center field, defense better. Third base, defense better. And that's the only way this team's going to have success. Is if they pitch and defend better than they did last year.
This team is awful defensively. Like this is going into next year because Neto is a fine defensive shortstop. Christian Moore is not known for his defense at second. Neither is Shanwell at first. At third base, you were going in with Christian Moore, so he's playing a new position when he's already not known for playing his original position. Logan O'Hoppe has been one of the worst defensive catchers in baseball, and the outfield is filled with DHs.
Yeah.
They need defense. That's why I think going to get Harrison Bader and trading for McMahon at this point, who is a better defender than Arenado and likely a better hitter at this point, I think that's the way you have to improve the Angels. And also, when I look at their rotation, I want a guy who, I mean, can we eat some innings here?
Yes.
Because
I mean,
right now,
that's number one. Yeah, because to your point, we got two guys that can make 30 starts, which is great. Then you are praying. For 30 starts.
And who threw 186 innings last year and is probably going to be pretty cheap?
I know your answer already.
Zach Littell.
Yeah. I like it.
I'm going to give him a multi-year deal. I'm even going 3 years, but I'm taking down some of the money. So on a per year basis, it's cheaper because I feel really good for the next 3 years because he's 30 years old. So you get him from age 31 to 34, 30 to 33, that he's going to throw 170 innings every year and just pitch
eat
to
him.
a 4.3 ERA. Just eat him. Keep the Angels in games. I said 3 years, $24 million.
I like it.
Is that crazy? That's 80 a year. But you're locking that in every year. I mean, maybe
our guy Cody Ponce got what, 3 for 32?
3 for 30.
3 for 30. I kind of think something closer to that.
Maybe. But Ponce at least has a ton of upside.
I know.
Like, he came over throwing heat. Littell is not known for heat or upside.
But he's so consistent. But yeah, I am with you. I don't think.
But he's consistently average to below average, though. He is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a 4.3. It's 186 innings, though. Greg comes up with 3 for 33 for Littell. I think he should be cheaper than Ponce. I really do. And also, I don't think that we can grade what the Blue Jays gave him to what the Angels, I guess, the income tax is really high.
The average innings eater nowadays gets like 1 for 12. So like if you're better than that.
Should we go shorter then? Let's do we could even do 2 for 24.
2 for 24, I like.
Okay. That's fine. Because if you're telling me we got to go over 30 million for him, I'm not.
If I were him, I would just take a 1-year deal and just go eat innings again at 15 million and just do it again and do it again.
Yeah. No, I get it. All right, so let's do 2 years, 24.
Okay.
Better. 2 year, 24 million. I know we just spent a ton of time on the Astros because the Astros are much, I would say, more complicated. When the Angels, here are their problems and here are solutions to address them pretty easily.
Yep, I'm with you. And I think, you look at the bullpen. Robert Stevenson being back is right. When he's been on the mound, he's nasty.
He is.
They added Pomerantz. They added Yates, as you mentioned. Romano's a great bounce back candidate. I think they've got several internal options, but you could make a case for them to just go add another reliever potentially, but I don't think that's totally necessary.
Yeah, I was thinking
we haven't spent a ton of money to be. We've spent a little bit. Actually,
we've spent $12.5 million this year and next year on Bader. We spent $12 million on Littell, and we're also paying McMahon. We're kind of running out of money here. And now we could go really cheap and find some kind of bullpen options like, Eli Morgan. I think he has a good changeup. Give Ryan Stanek another opportunity. Throws gas. Guys like that. Sure.
I think it's one more reclamation project reliever.
Okay. Do you want to see if Tommy Kahnle can develop a second pitch?
Should we go Stanek?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, though, we already gave him to Rocktober.
Oh, we did give him to Rocktober. No, that we can't
they
cross-pollinate there.
Yeah, they need him.
No, they need him.
What about bringing a mind like Brent Suter?
A mind
smarter. I don't know if he's going to pitch well.
Brent Suter. I don't even know if I've looked at his stats in the last 3 years.
He did not have the best year, but it's been consistent. 70 innings, 65 innings every year over the past 4 or 5 years.
You know what? Yeah, give me one more lefty in here.
We're bringing in Megamind.
Yeah.
Brent Suter, welcome to the Angels.
Nice.
How much should we give him? Should we give him a full $1 million?
Yeah. He deserves $1 million.
1.5? We signed Ryan Stanek. Jack and I argued over a little bit. 1.156 million. We can start doing decimals.
You guys we should start debating the incentives.
All right. How about this? 1.155 million. Because Stanek.
I think he's worth a little more.
You think he's worth a little more?
1.5.
Okay. 1.524 million.
Yep. Perfect.
And no. 1.1459. He might appreciate the pie reference.
Okay. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
I think those are the first 4 decimals of pi.
You're asking the wrong guy.
No, it's 3.14159, not 1.1.
Oh yeah, I was just I thought you already were accounting for the 3.
No, it wasn't. So we signed Brent Suter to the Angels for a 1-year, 1.1459 deal. I don't even know if that makes sense, but we're doing it anyway. So I think we're done. And again, I want to spend more time on the Angels, but this is a better team without spending much more money, and it addresses their needs to get better defensively. It addresses their pitching needs where they need a guy who just makes the rest of the rotation a little bit more comfortable, can eat into the 6th inning to kind of save that bullpen. And then in the bullpen, you don't have to make any major changes outside of signing one guy to a 1.1459 type deal.
Yeah. Jack Ohanowitz doesn't need to throw 111 innings next year, so I think that's going to help. You still have Dana for depth, who I think could take a leap, but I also think is a candidate to perform better in the bullpen. And I like where this team's at. I think this team could easily get north of 80 if things go right, and that's a pretty successful season.
Last but certainly not least, we're about to play general manager with the no city designation A's. And Aram, I'm giving you a big test. By the time we come back from break, on the ticker it says playing GM Athletics. We'll be right back. Look at that. Look at Aram. The graphic is right, and we are ready to play general manager with the Vegas, Sacramento, Oakland, no city designation.
Did you see they just lost their trademark battle too? So it may even less designation. We have no idea.
What should they name the team? We'll talk about that later. All right, let's talk about what the A's have done so far in this offseason. The problem with the A's, though, is I don't have very many big moves to do.
I got nothing. I got one move.
I got 3, but none of them are very sexy. So the A's moves so far. The New York Mets traded Jeff McNeil and cash to the A's for right-handed pitcher Yordan Rodriguez. I think it's a good buy low bat.
Mm-hmm.
A's also signed free agent relief pitcher Mark Leiter Jr., who was pitching for the Yankees for a little while. I like the move. They traded Ryan Watson to the Red Sox for second baseman Justin Reamer and cash. That's where I throw it over to you. Do you like it?
I have no idea.
Perfect. And they signed Tyler Soderstrom to an 8-year, $86 million extension. That's the big move of the offseason. And when I look at their payroll right now, they're about $117 million. Last year, they were $118. So we can't elevate their payroll that much. That's the issue, because we're not all of a sudden going to, put them on a $150 million payroll. I also want to give them a little bit of credit. These A's are not 28th in payroll right now.
Yeah.
They're 22nd. So they're not even in the bottom 5 anymore. They've been extending guys. They signed Luis Severino last offseason. They have money, but clearly not enough. But I want to escalate the payroll a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit with some smart moves that make the A's better next season. And I'm going to start from least sexy to most. This team needs a backup infielder, right? Because right now you have Max Muncy, not the Dodgers Max Muncy, the Athletics Max Muncy playing third. And just look at their bench right now. It is Austin Wynns, Darryl Hernandez, who I guess is their backup infielder, who put up an OPS below 600 and put up a negative WAR last year. Carlos Cortez and Colby Thomas, who both play in the outfield. I would like some age in the room, and I would like a guy who's been around the block a little bit, and I would also like a guy who's been in the division before. That mostly just makes my move sound cooler. It doesn't really matter if he's been in the division or not, but I want it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out when Zach Geloff is supposed to be back. He's having
shoulder surgery.
Yeah, so that doesn't sound like it's anytime too soon. But
this guy can play anywhere. Let's go get Dylan Moore.
Ooh, I'm always on board for Dylan Moore.
I knew you'd like Dylan Moore.
Yeah.
Do you think he gets major league money?
He should. He deserves major league money until he doesn't want it anymore.
The problem was he was the worst player on the Mariners by far last year.
Yeah, that happens. But it's all about how you come back. And I think Moore is such a dynamic skill set, though. He's like the Chris Taylor light, where it's just I'm going to give him shots and keep giving him shots and keep giving him. But it's also not like we're 3 years removed from him being good. He was arguably the best season of his career in 2024. That's what made 2025 so weird. So I think perfect bounce back candidate, probably does get a big league deal. If you get him on a minor league deal, even better. And I think with the uncertainty of Geloff, again, I don't know what the exact injury was in terms of like the turnaround, but I imagine if he had surgery in September, it's probably not going to be that quick, but I'll double check that in a minute.
How about this? While you double check that, I want to answer this comment from Uncle Ted, Willie Castro. I thought about Willie Castro. The problem is Willie Castro, I think, is an everyday player. And they don't exactly need an everyday player. Like, I'd like to see what Max Muncy gives them at third base rather than signing Willie Castro. Willie Castro is also probably much more expensive than Dylan Moore. And a lot of other teams are going to need Willie Castro more. So I went cheaper, and I think it's actually a better fit. You want more of a bench bat than Willie Castro, who would play every day. And the A's lineup is pretty set. Like Nick Kurtz at first, Langlears at catcher, Soderstrom in left, Rooker at DH, McNeil at second, Wilson at short, Lawrence Butler in right, Muncy at third, and Denzel Clark in center. Willie Castro needs everyday at bats. I don't know where that's coming from unless you're sacrificing Max Muncy's playing time again, which I don't want to do.
So interesting. Geloff should be available in spring training.
Oh.
So if that's the case.
But also, does he deserve a spot?
On the bench? So I think it's going to be a competition between Muncy and Geloff. And I think whoever performs the best is going to get that gig.
So you think just don't even sign Dylan Moore?
I think we're good. Because they need to figure out what they have with Ernaiz, who still has prospect pedigree. So you just want to figure it out. And then, who do they get him for? Like Cole Irvin. And then you want to figure out what you've got, I think, with these two third basemen and whoever wins the gig. And the fact that both of them can play all over. Like if Muncy loses the gig, he could play every infield spot. And Geloff can play second, third, and first. I think you give the youngins a shot.
Let's give the youngins a shot. Sorry, Dylan Moore. Can't give you a deal. All right. Now, again, I only have two moves. I'm sorry, A's. I just look at your team and I say, all right, I know we can't spend much money. I also don't think you need to even touch the lineup. I think you need one more pitcher and maybe one more bullpen arm. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the starter?
I went with Giolito.
They don't have a ton. Like I'm thinking money wise. Like I was reading Buster Olney, our guy reported on it, about 10 to 15 probably in wiggle room. Of course, they could always go over that, but it's not as firm as the Astros situation. But working within a few million of that.
I went with Giolito.
Ooh.
Because I'm looking at the remaining free agent pitchers, and I'm like, all right, we're probably
hate pitching there.
We're probably priced at a gallon. You could go Nick Martinez, and I'm perfectly fine with that. The issue is I already gave away Nick Martinez to another team in the offseason, so I was trying to find just a different guy. But I think Nick Martinez actually works better than Giolito. Mm-hmm. But we already sent Nick Martinez elsewhere. So I was like, wait, should I?
I'm trying to think of because if you're a guy on a short-term deal that wants to potentially get a bigger deal, that's the last place I want to pitch, right?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Giolito is going to be like, he's talked about how he was banged up in Boston and didn't get a chance to fully rebuild his market. Whereas like Nick Martinez, this could be one of the last deals he gets.
Right.
And if a young guy comes in and proves it, I think we talked about it one of the other times we pitched Nick Martinez. If a young guy comes up and proves it, I love Jack Perkins. I think he's kind of a hybrid guy. Let's say that Perkins looks like a rotation guy. Luis Medina has, puts it all together off of TJ. Then Martinez can always move into the bullpen in year two. Because I think I'd rather go 2 years lower AAV.
I also thought about bringing back Frankie Montas, but he's hurt. And I also thought about bringing back Chris Bassett, but he's been, and I'm glad this comment came up, he was pretty vocal about the A's business operation
Oh
in a
yeah,
negative way. So I was like, all right, I don't think they're going to bring him back. I also thought about Aaron Savali. I was like, you could bring in Martin Perez. Again, you could bring in, I also thought about Griffin Canning, but I think he's hurt. There's just not a lot of great options. And I don't necessarily want to trade for one either.
No, I don't either. Because I like what they've got in the pipeline on the way. So it's more of a placeholder, and that's why I think you got a pretty good placeholder. And I think Nick Martinez. I think Nick Martinez is the placeholder.
Because I also was thinking about bringing in Justin Verlander, but if I'm not mistaken,
his home run, he'd give up 48 homers.
Yeah, he pitched once in, and I remember because I think I lost a bet on this game. Yeah, he pitched against the A's in July, and he gave up 6 earned in 3 innings. Now I know it's an A's lineup, but I was like, "There's no way he wants to end his career pitching at a minor league ballpark."
No.
Do you think it's Nick Martinez?
I think it's Nick because I also, again, I like it as someone that can then transition into a relief role because I think Braden Nett has a chance to be a rotation piece. I think I'm still not closing the door on Mason Barnett, who could be a back end of the rotation piece. I still think Jack Perkins has a shot to be a rotation piece. And then we're not even talking about, some of these other guys that are coming up through the pipeline, including, who they just drafted. So I feel like there's so much potential pitching wise that's about a year or two away. I feel like this is even Gage Jump, one of my favorite pitching prospects in baseball. He's probably about a year or so away. So Jamie Arnold's going to be there probably in a couple years if all goes right. So yep. I like the placeholder of Nick Martinez.
Nick Martinez. All right, let's do it. Because I was like, sign Giolito to a 1+1, but I think you make a great point. A guy trying to rebuild in order to get a bigger contract later. Why in the world would you go to Sacramento in this ballpark? The thing is, how many teams are actually going to sign Giolito? Maybe he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, he may not have a choice. I think an analytically driven team is going to give him a shot and try to work with him and see what they can get.
Just think about which one, because I was thinking about it earlier and I couldn't think of one.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be.
I was going through the teams.
He might be.
I was like, the Blue Jays are done. The Yankees probably. The Yankees.
The Yankee or Marlin. Who the hell is closing games for this team?
They didn't really have one last year.
Roster Resource has 3 closers, which I think is their way of saying they have no closers. There's 3 guys with the closer designation. It's Hogan Harris, it's Justin Sterner, it's Mark Leiter Jr. Hogan Harris had 4 saves last year. Mark Leiter had 2. I think Michael Kelly.
Why don't we do this? Because we spent $8 million on Nick Martinez.
Yeah, 2 years, 16 or something like that. 2 years, 18.
Oh, he gets a 2-year deal?
I was thinking lower AAV, 2-year deal.
Okay. What did we give to him last time?
Yeah, whatever we gave him last time. Do we know? People are going to be like, why are the A's paying him more? Yeah, that's the Sacramento tax. That's the
way less.
In a AAA ballpark.
Yes,
you got to pay more.
While you're talking about who they should sign as a reliever, I'm going to give you an idea, and I'm actually stealing your idea that you already gave me earlier. So why don't you just say it?
Sir Anthony Dominguez, because I think they need someone with upside. If Sir Anthony Dominguez walks 5 per 9, so be it. But of the guys that are going to be available at that price point, he might be the only guy that if he's throwing well and that walk per 9 is below 4, he's got closer stuff and he could be your closer. It may not be the sexiest closer in Major League Baseball, but it's better than like just being in one of those situations where you're rolling out like just the de facto closer. Like he's clearly the nastiest pitcher in your bullpen and he closes the games out, and it might be a roller coaster and so be it. I think Sir Anthony Dominguez is the guy.
I love it. And I can't find how much we gave Nick Martinez. I was looking in my old Google Docs. We'll figure that out later. I think it's a good pitch for Seranthony Dominguez, and I don't think he's going to be crazy expensive. And he is an arm that's left that I would trust to close games. I think you could say the same thing about Pierce Johnson. I think you could say the same thing about Evan Phillips. The thing is with Evan Phillips is I'm trying to give him away to everybody because I still believe in him truly as an arm. But of those left, I mean, you give David Robertson another shot at 41 years old, but feels to me like he's the guy who's going to wait for the first half of the season every single year and just join a team for a playoff run. Among guys who I think are only going to be worth about $4 or $5 million, is it crazy to think that Justin Wilson could close out games? He was pretty good again last year.
I mean, I think anybody can close out games for this team at this point. Yeah, I mean, the stuff is not bad.
No.
If it's a lefty heavy ninth coming up, I don't hate that. He's got good stuff.
And Liam Hendricks, someone just said in our chat that Liam Hendricks is available.
Young team, he would be good vibes. I don't think he gives a shit about where he pitches. He's just to be happy. I feel like he's just going to be enjoying going out the ballpark on a young team. But I don't want to speak for him. That's just the energy I get. Hendricks could be a good, but like Hendricks is like in addition to be, and I would
be. Did he retire? No, he has not retired.
No.
Someone said that in the comment section, and it kind of made me think. I was like, did he? No.
What about Craig Kimbrell? Speaking of retire.
No, I'd rather Liam Hendricks. I'd rather get Justin Wilson and Liam Hendricks than Seranthony Dominguez. I know that sounds crazy, but those two are going to be a hell of a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's probably more realistic too.
So, okay, we signed Nick Martinez to an undisclosed confidential contract.
Yeah.
We signed Justin Wilson to a 1-year, $3 million deal, and we signed Liam Hendricks to a what?
1 year, $2 million. I don't even know.
1 year, say 1.5. Are we saying Brent Suter gets more?
Yeah, that is true. He's got to get less than Brent Suter.
1 year, $1 million.
Yeah.
A clean $1 million. And that's it. I mean, when we're playing GM episodes, whenever we make the moves like this, I'm always like disappointed.
No, I'm not. This is the most fun for me.
I know you're like, oh, these actually make sense, and I get to go to bed and I feel good about myself. No, these are moves that make the A's better, keep them around the same payroll. Because again, we go into every playing GM episode using, or at least trying to, the brains that are inside the building.
Or at least what the restrictions we know they have are, right? Like it's just to be realistic, because I don't want to feel like we're just playing MLB The Show. So to wrap up though, here's my question: with the moves that we made for each team, what do you think the ceiling is? I'll tell you, like, I think the ceiling for the Astros, or not ceiling, but like, what do you think a reasonable 75th percentile outcome? Like, I think the Astros can make a run in the playoffs. Like, I think
75th percentile outcome for the Astros is winning the division and going on a run.
Yeah. It's like 75th percentile, I'd say, getting into the division series and you see what happens.
Yeah, that's the 75th percentile. 100th percentile is this team can win the World Series with the roster they currently have. Like, if you're telling me that Christian Javier and Tatsuya Imai both have great seasons and Hader and Abreu lock it down and Yordan is back to being Yordan and the rest of the lineup follows suit, Christian Walker bounces back. I mean, that team can win the World Series.
And that's the 100th percentile. Of course, it's a parlay, but like it could happen. Cam Smith makes a leap, all that stuff. They have the upside to do that.
Yes. The Angels.
75th percentile outcome of the A's after these moves and the Angels after these moves.
The A's 75th percentile outcome is competing heavily for a wild card.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing is with the A's, and we've talked about it in our Discord a lot, especially actually more on the betting side.
I was going to say, this is going to be where you're like you're the fucking Grinch going into the season, because everyone's excited about the A's, and I know you are too, but you're like, the over-under shouldn't be 82 or whatever. And it's like, I could see something like that, because the downside is still immense when you look at the pitching staff at this point.
Because the A's won 76 games last year. It's pretty bad, right? That's,
and it was
like
a fun year. They were entertaining, but like there's not, I think they're going to take a step forward, but there's not a lot that points towards that being this coming season. It could be the same thing.
I'm likely going to fade Nick Kurtz in the player props market.
31% strikeout rate. Like I understand. I really like
everyone
him.
wants to bet on him to lead the league in homers. And I get it. I talked with my guy, Sean, and he brought up that bet. And I was like, I get why he was one of the best rookie hitters like we've seen. The thing is, I've seen a lot of great rookie hitters that hit a second-year wall and just don't perform like we thought they would. And then they end up becoming great big leaguers, but just year 2.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential sophomore slumps.
Exactly. They're going to be like, A's make the playoffs. Look at this lineup. And then I look at the team and I say, yes, if everything works out. But I could say the same thing about the Astros. If everything works out, the Astros are going to be way better. Yeah. And I also look at the Angels and I say, if everything works out for them, they could be better than the A's.
Because of the balance, because of the pitching. Like if you combine bullpen and rotation, and let's say cumulatively it's 75th percentile outcome for the bullpen and rotation. I think that would be enough of a gap to offset the hitting. Like if you have 75th percentile outcome for that lineup for the Athletics, they're going to freaking mash, no doubt about it. But they're going to need to mash. And I think 75th percentile outcome for the Angels is still in a comfortably solid offense with the pieces that they have and the pieces that we added. So I'm with you. I think for the Athletics, it's like fighting for a wild card spot. I think for the Angels, it's similar, but maybe grabbing that wild card spot. So again, I think all these teams are going to be fun to watch next year if they make a few more moves like we did, or just moves in general. And I see the direction for each of these teams though. And I think it's make or break for the Astros this year in a lot of ways. Whereas I think you can see the Athletics really building, and even the Angels, at least you start to see a little bit of a direction. But I think each of these teams, if it goes right, can make the playoffs.
I agree. And that's what playing GM is all about. We're just making these teams better. We just finished the Houston Astros, the LA Angels, and the Sacramento A's. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. And now the best way to support the Just Baseball show, whether you're listening on audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching us on YouTube, leave a written review if you can, whether that be in the comment section of this YouTube video or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And the best thing to do also is just like the video if you're watching us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star review, whether you're listening on audio. And I know the holidays just ended, but if you want to get yourself some Just Baseball merch, you can also find the links, whether you're watching on audio or video. And of course, if you want to join the best baseball group chat in the world, I'm telling you, MLB futures are coming out soon, but also in the offseason, we're going over all this stuff. So many great conversations, whether that be prospects, cards, MLB stuff, certainly on the betting side, moving into the NFL playoffs. So if you're interested, you can find the link, both this YouTube and on audio. Aram, anything else before we say goodbye?
No, I see someone in the comments shouting out Luis Morales. I agree. Like I think Luis Morales could really push this Athletics team over the hump too. And I think he could be one of their key guys in the rotation. That's probably the guy I'm most excited to watch moving forward. But that's it.
And with that, thank you, everybody.